Have you ever felt confused when a conversation suddenly stops? 4 seconds of silence. Only 4 seconds. But it is enough to make your heart rate increase suddenly. Palms sweating. And anxiety surrounds the mind. Research from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands indicates just 4 seconds of interrupted conversation is enough for humans to feel rejected or excluded. We hurry to find words, to fill the gap, to dispel the suffocation, as if silence is an enemy. But did you know? In many countries, silence is instead the yardstick of peak sophistication, the art of absolute respect. Why can Finns be silent for hours and still feel warm? Why do Japanese people value the meaningful pause the gap more than words? In this journey, we do not just learn English. We will together deeply decode the power of invisible silences based on real sociological data and analyses from leading linguistic experts to see that silence is not emptiness, but the place where understanding begins. If you are also searching for peace in every word, please join me on this further path. Your companionship is the motivation for us to spread silent values. How do you feel when facing a long silence? Anxious or peaceful? Please leave a small personal note down below. We shall begin. Part 1. Redefining the gap in communication. To truly understand why silence is considered a form of politeness, we need to deconstruct the concept of high context culture. That is, culture based on context. This is a term defined by the world-renowned anthropologist Edward T. Hall. In his work, The Silent Language, Hall pointed out that words are only the surface of an iceberg. In countries such as Japan, South Korea, or Nordic countries, more than 70% of the meaning of a conversation lies in what is not said. It lies in the eye contact, in the breathing, and in the silences themselves. According to a survey on World Values survey, conducted on a large scale, people in high context cultures tend to trust in silence more than 40% compared to low context cultures like the United States or Germany. In Finland, a country famous for its stillness, the University of Helsinki has published a study on communication behavior. They found that for Finnish people, silence is the highest expression of listening and sincerity. In Japan, the concept of the meaningful pause becomes a compass. The meaningful pause is not the absence of sound, but the presence of understanding. Research from the National Institute for Japanese Language and Linguistics shows that the average silence duration between speaking turns is 3 times longer than meetings. In North America, this helps minimize misunderstandings due to speaking too fast. Let us look deeper into the biological aspect. According to a report on neurology from Duke University, when a person stops speaking and enters a state of silent observation, the prefrontal cortex starts operating with high intensity. This silence helps the nervous system reduce the pressure from having to maintain words. Data from Eurobarometer indicates more than 60% of people in Nordic countries prefer slow conversations with many pauses. Linguist Deborah Tannen pointed out that silence also expresses consensus more powerfully than any declaration. However, in the digital world, according to the report from Pew Research Center, the explosion of instant messages has distorted the ability to be silent. We feel the pressure to respond immediately when seeing the 3 dots blinking, but those who have the ability to master their behavior will know how to reclaim power from silence. They use it as a filter to protect focus. Research from the University of Michigan shows that actively being silent helps increase the ability to control emotions and reduces the rate of conflict in communication. True politeness is when you are confident enough to allow the other person to be in a silence without feeling the need to rescue the conversation. Do you believe that a nod in silence can warm the heart of someone who is sad more than thousands of cliched words of comfort? Please leave a small personal note in the comments section. Philosophy. Silence is not the end of a conversation, but the beginning of understanding. Part 2. Behavioral transformation and the economy of silence. To go deeper into silence, we need to look at the figures on social behavior. According to a report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, in 2023, on communication trends in the workplace, there is a big difference between East Asian and Western countries. In Nordic countries, like Sweden and Finland, silence in meetings is considered time for strategic thinking. A study from Oxford University points out negotiations that have silences lasting over 5 seconds often lead to more breakthrough results because it allows the brain to escape the reflex of instant arguing and enter a state of logical analysis. Medical data from the World Health Organization (WHO) confirms that noise pollution and the overload of verbal information are causing auditory fatigue syndrome. This rate has increased by 30% in the past decade. In Japan, a report from the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare indicates that maintaining polite silence helps reduce cortisol levels in social interactions. Silence is not only a cultural rule, it is also a mechanism of psychological self-protection. In the modern world, when we talk too much, we are consuming a large amount of energy. Research from Stanford on behavioral psychology affirms that those who know how to control silence are evaluated to have emotional intelligence (EQ) significantly higher. They do not react based on momentary emotions, but based on empathy. A report from the British Psychological Society shows that silence helps enhance the ability to remember information by up to 20%. Why do we often tend to say more when the other person is silent? That is insecurity. But those who have the ability to master communication behavior will know how to embrace that gap to create comfort for both sides. A survey from Gallup on satisfaction in personal relationships shows that couples who can be silent together without feeling suffocated have a happiness index twice as high. Silence is indeed a high-level language. It requires confidence and deep understanding of the needs of others. If you feel these analyses are helping you look back at your communication habits, please join me in spreading this message. A channel subscription is the best way for us to maintain these values of knowledge. Thank you for joining me. Do you usually use silence to listen or to observe? Please leave a small personal note. Philosophy. Polite silence is the expression of a soul that has achieved serenity. Part 3. The Art of Mastering Silence and Practical Solutions. How to turn silence into a tool that is polite and effective. The first solution is the 3-second rule. In professional communication, reports from the magazine Harvard Business Review on the art of negotiation suggest that you should pause for 3 seconds after the other person finishes speaking. This silence shows that you have truly listened and are considering in a serious way. Research on linguistics from Cambridge University points out that pausing increases the weight of the subsequent words by up to 40%. It eliminates the feeling of a mechanical reflex and replaces it with deep empathy. The second solution is applying the mindset of a listening mindset. Based on research, on Humanistic Psychology by Carl Rogers. Focus on what is not said through the eyes and a quiet presence. Data from the American Psychological Association (APA) confirms that humans convey more than 70% of the message through nonverbal elements. Silence at this time acts as a safe space so that the other person can reveal feelings that are truly deep and hidden. Reports from the National Institute of Mental Health in the U.S. suggest the method of active silence, spending 10 minutes being absolutely silent every morning and evening, helps restructure neural connections and increases the ability to focus in the workplace environment, according to a survey by Forbes. On the most influential leaders, 80% regularly use long pauses to assert authority and composure. Polite silence is not avoidance. It is a choice to not be caught in the vortex of noise. A wise person is one who knows how to use words to exchange information, but knows how to use silence to create connection. In a world of too many junk sounds, your stillness is a filter, helping to keep what truly has value. Are you willing to let the dialogue rest for a few seconds when feeling stressed? The way you use that silence is what? Please share the story of your own philosophy. The wise person knows how to use words to exchange, but uses silence to understand. Outro: the journey back to stillness. We have gone through a long journey to understand that silence is not empty at all. It contains respect, empathy, and a sustainable scientific foundation. From the 4-second rules of the Netherlands to the sophisticated, the meaningful pause philosophy of Japan, or the research on the cerebral cortex from the US, all point to a single truth. True politeness does not lie in how well you speak, but lies in how you know to give space for stillness. When you master the silence, you master your relationships. You are no longer afraid, no longer insecure before the gaps, because you know that it is the time the heart and intellect are working most powerfully. Try to start right from today. Give yourself the pauses to listen more deeply, to understand more thoroughly, and to see that this world is still very beautiful, even when there is no sound. Thank you for accompanying me until these very moments. Your presence has made this space become more meaningful. Don't forget to share this video with the people that you want to enjoy the stillness with. See you again on the next journeys of knowledge discovery. Always keep for yourself a serene soul in the middle of this noisy world. Philosophy The ultimate silence is not separation, but the highest form of freedom and connection.